life of people not only in Niger State but also.
Still a chance for Iron Robin. It's
Let him shoot. Jump from one.
Thanks for joining the Gallery TV News Updates at all. I am Oluwatomi Oberdi. The news headlines. Strike. Federal government Asuu meeting ends in deadlock. 2023. INEC to adopt manual electronic transmission of results. Federal government launches N-Alert mobile app to tackle insecurity. On business news. Special agro-industrial processing zones suffer setbacks, experts warns federal government. On sports news, Nigeria withdraws from international basketball over NBBF crisis. On entertainment news, singer CK listed as Time's Next Generation leader. Foreign news, at least 11 dead after boat capsized off Puerto Rico, U.S. Coast Guard says. Now on the news in details. Strike. Federal government Asuu meeting ends in deadlock. The federal government and Nigeria Religious Council on Thursday failed to convince the striking academic staff union of universities to call off their industrial action during a meeting called by the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Agbola Gambari, and the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige. The meeting, which was also co-chaired by the Sultan of Sokoto, Sahad Abubakar, and the Christian Association of Nigeria's President, Dr. Shukbo Ayokole, could not persuade the Asuu leaders to return to the classrooms while negotiations were ongoing to meet their demands. It was gathered that the federal government and NIREC attempted to persuade the union to return to the classrooms during the closed-door technical section, promising that their demands would be met. But the Asuu leadership reportedly said the government had to meet part of their demands, which they could use in convincing their members to call off the ongoing strike. The meeting, which was held by the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa, Abuja, was attended by other registered trade unions and universities, as well as identified interest groups and civil society groups. For providing an update on the meeting, Ngige said that the federal government had reached an agreement with the union, adding that certain timelines had been set and that specific parts of the agreement would be implemented from next week. Asuu President Professor Emmanuel Siddiqui called the NIREC at earlier interviewed in the issues last November, noting that the Sultan and the CAN leader also met with the President Muhammadu Buhari retired, who set up a 3-man committee which met with the union for the first time on Thursday. Asuu had on Monday extended his rollover strike, which started on February 14th by another 12 weeks. His demands include the funding for the revitalization of public universities, the aimed academic allowances, university transparency accountability solution, and promotion areas. Others are the renegotiation of the 2019 Asuu federal government agreement and the inconsistency in integrated personnel payroll and information system. 2023. INEC adopts manual electronic transmission of results. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, yesterday announced it might move sensitive materials from the Central Bank of Nigeria to another location. Speaking during a consultative meeting with the media, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu, while responding to a question on the political ambition and partisanship of Federal Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele, said the Commission might be forced to seek alternative arrangement for the handling of sensitive materials. He said the Apex Bank was responsible for storage and movement of sensitive materials and that the Commission had never doubted its capacity to discharge that responsibility. The INEC chairman also said that the Commission will deploy both manual and electronic methods in transmission of 2023 election results. According to him, the provision of the Electoral Act 2022 on the management of results is still basically manual, involving the recording of results on forms and their delivery to various levels of collation until declaration and returns are made. Noting, however, that the law still provides for in-transmission of results, Yakubu, quoting Section 64 of the Electoral Act, said electronic transmission of results can only be done in the event of disputes during the course of collation. He said there was no need to clear misconception around e-transmission of results because many Nigerians equate it with electronic voting where polling can take place from any location. Yakubu also disclosed that 18 registered political parties have submitted their membership register to the commission. He added that the commission would also finalize the document guiding the conduct of future elections, including the forthcoming APC and Osun governorship elections, as well as 2023 general elections. Federal government launches N-Alert mobile app to tackle insecurity. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, on Thursday launched the N-Alert mobile application to help citizens in reaching out to security agencies across the country for swift intervention concerning crime, homicide, and other security-related incidents. According to the minister, the mobile application could have helped minimize the rate of human and infrastructural casualty during the infamous Kaduna-Abuja railway attack, and the main passenger alerted security agencies as at the time of the attack. He said the government continues to commit resources to security agencies and their welfare. Security is the responsibility of everybody, and what is important is vigilance. With the N-Alert mobile applications, citizens can send real-time videos, audios, and photos of all the incidents they wish to report. The minister said the slogan for the app is "See something, say N-Alert," appealing to citizens not to abuse the mobile application by reporting fake emergencies. Also speaking at the event, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, stated that the ministry would also work in tandem with the Ministry of Interior for the success of the mobile security application. Now on business news. Special agro-industrial processing zones suffer setbacks, experts warn federal government. Experts and stakeholders in the financial system have said the delay in getting approval from the Federal Executive Council is stalling the implementation of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program. According to the experts, the Nigerian economy may suffer from the looming food crisis if there is no major increase in the agricultural production, especially in the areas of sparse program as identified as growth potential. The program, as described it, is a major cluster-based infrastructure project meant to bring together farmers, processors, and retailers to connect agricultural production to the market. Analysts said the special agro-industrial processing zones will regionalize agriculture and boost food production in the country. African Development Bank's special agro-industrial processing zones, vetted by the president of the bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, who is the former Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, had raised the hope for an agro-industrial revolution. The bank identified sites for the spas across the 6 geopolitical zones to ensure that they were spread across the country. Following this, the first phase of the project was to be implemented in 7 states, including Cross River, Imo, Kaduna, Kano, Kwara, Ogun, and Oyo, and the Federal Capital Territory. Already, AFDP and its development partners had mobilized $520 million to co-finance the first phase of the project. However, the signing of loan agreement with AFDP, International Fund for Agricultural Development, and Islamic Development Bank, and the subsidiary loan agreements with the sparse states under the active supervision of the Federal Ministry of Finance is still pending due to the lack of approval from FEC. Industry officials close to the development said the Finance Ministry was not making enough effort to prepare the memo for the proposed loan agreement with the donor banks for EFC for ratification. Consequently, the inability of the Finance Minister to obtain FEC approval has hampered the plan to launch the project, which was expected to attract the presidents of AFDP, ISDP, and IFAD. On sports news, Nigeria withdraws from international basketball over NBBF crisis. Following the leadership crisis that has dogged Nigerian basketball for more than 8 years, the federal government yesterday withdrew the country from the international competitions for a period of 2 years. Citing the unending crisis that plagued and nearly crippled basketball development in the country, the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development said President Muhammadu Buhari approved the action for the period to enable the country to tackle the issues. Speaking in his office yesterday, Youth and Sport Development Minister Sunday Dare said the move would also provide government opportunity to revamp the sport from the grassroots, as well as revive the domestic leagues which have become moribund. Represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Alhaji Ismaila Abubakar, Dare said the withdrawal will also allow the setting up of an interim management committee IMC, to oversee the management and development of domestic basketball leagues and further address other related issues around the advancement of the game in the country. He said government intends to utilize the period to address all contentious issues among stakeholders. The terms of reference, TOR, and membership of the Interim Management Committee will be announced in due course. Dari also reiterated government's interest and commitment to the development of basketball in Nigeria, as well as huge challenge of our youth domestically in an atmosphere that is free of rancor and squabbles. He called on players, officials, fans, and other stakeholders of the sport to remain calm as government embarks on far-reaching initiatives to reposition, sustain, and stabilize the game of basketball for growth and success in the long-term interest of the country. Recalled that some basketball players on Thursday converged on the minister's office to register their displeasure with government over seeming unwillingness to resolve the post-election crisis rocking the Nigerian Basketball Federation (NBBF). Two separate NBBF elections were held on January 31, 2022 in Abuja and Benin, with winners of the polls claiming to be authentic leaders of the body. Abuja NBBF faction election produced Nguchi Mark as the body's president, while the polls in Benin returned Musa Kida as the federation's boss. The angry players, led by the players' representative on the Abuja factional board, Stanley Gumot, told journalists that the procession to the minister's office was part of the resolutions reached at their meeting last week. Gumot said players were not happy with the ministry, appeared indifferent, while the leadership tussle was taking a toll on their careers, adding that the situation is hampering the growth of the domestic component of the game. Now on entertainment news. Singer CK listed as Time's next generation leader. Fast-rising singer Chukwuka Ekweanu, popularly known as CK, is the only Nigerian to make the 2022 Times Next Generation Leaders list. This was announced by Times on their official website on Thursday. The Times Next Generation Leaders list recognizes young people from across fields and around the globe who are working to build a better world. Time described CK as one of the most successful African recording artists ever on the global scale. One of his most successful songs, Love Wantingly, garnered over 2 billion views on TikTok and 500 billion more on YouTube. The song has also charted in 6 continents, hitting #1 in India, Norway, and Switzerland. Other leaders around the world who made the list this year include the youngest member of Mongolian's cabinet, Bolo Enden Baskenge, South African beauty entrepreneur Deepika Mutiala, and a host of many others. Lastly, on foreign news, at least 11 dead after boats capsized off Puerto Rico, says U.S. Coast Guard. At least 11 people died after their boat, which was carrying an unknown member of passengers, overturned off the coast of Puerto Rico, the U.S. Coast Guard said on Thursday. As at 6 p.m. Thursday, responding partner agency units have rescued 31 survivors, 11 female and 20 male. 11 deceased have been recovered, the Coast Guard said in a tweet. A spokesperson for the U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) told AFP that the shipwreck occurred 10 nautical miles north of Descheko Island, an uninhabited U.S. territory between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. The spokesperson said most of the survivors were from Haiti or the Dominican Republic, and that the search was ongoing. The U.S. Coast Guard said in a statement earlier Thursday that the capsized vehicle was suspected of taking part in an illegal voyage. Just before noon, a CBP helicopter spotted the boat and a number of people in the water who appeared not to be wearing life jackets, and the statement said multiple rescue helicopters were launched and the Coast Guard vessels were diverted to assist in the recovery. The statement also said CBC and Puerto Rican units were responding to help in the recovery effort. The search for survivors is scheduled to continue through the night, the U.S. Coast Guard said in a Thursday evening tweet. Thanks for watching the news update at 12. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Life of people not only in Niger State, but also
Still a chance for Iron Robin. It's
Let him shoot, let him shoot. Go from one.
fever in Taraba due to lack of specific dialysis machine.
Proposed by the federal government to finance deficit in the 2021 budget by approved.